Next. Okay. So good morning again. Now that we are recording, welcome. All right, let me share my screen here and show you guys where we should be. All right. So if you're able to log on to Summit, go ahead and do that. Find our class. All right, Drama Yes Philly, Page to Stage is our project. And then what you're going to look for today is checkpoint 2 is what you should see newly assigned to you. It says scene annotation. Excuse me. All right. And then if you click the link up here, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. All right. Just say from page to stage, scene annotation. All right. It says in this checkpoint, you will read a scene from Fences and annotate it in depth in preparation for your scene analysis paper, which is going to be our final product. Okay. The end goal of your annotations is that you have prepared ideas about word choice. And we can define what word choice is here. Specific word choice using this scene and the ways in which the connotations of those words develops the plot or characters and also the themes. The way specific words help support a theme throughout the film. And I gave you guys a little hint here to use your theme statement from checkpoint 1 to help you identify, okay, what are some of those themes I want to look for here? All right. There's a couple things with this that we see in the directions that may stump us here. So when we annotate something, somebody tell me either in the chat or come off mute. What does that mean? What are we doing when we're annotating something?
You taking notes?
Yeah, taking notes. You're looking, or you're reading it, looking over it, kind of marking it up, um, so you can kind of have a better understanding of it. Good, thank you, Quay. And then when we talk here about word choice, it says the specific word choice used in this scene and the ways in which the connotations of those words develop the plot or characters. This word connotations, what does that mean? Have we heard that word before? Do we recognize it? Know what it means? Can somebody tell me in the chat or come off mute what they think that might mean? Or take your best guess if you're unsure. A hint for this might be if you've heard the phrases connotation and denotation when we talk about the meaning of a word. Uh, do we remember? Does anyone remember or
It
know
mean,
what the
oh my
difference?
fault.
Go ahead, Quay.
It mean an idea, feeling that a word invokes an additional.
Yes.
Literally.
Thank you for looking it up and giving us that dictionary definition. But regardless, you are right. So we have denotation when we talk about the meaning of a word, right? We have denotation and connotation. Denotation, I always think of it like you denote, you write something down. So denotation is like the written down dictionary definition of a word. Connotation is the kind of like emotion or thoughts or feelings that that word kind of implies or makes us think about. All right. And for example, the word lazy, by definition could just mean, okay, you're a little tired or whatever. But the connotation of that word, if I said, oh, this guy's pretty lazy, maybe that implies to us like he is not really motivated. He's kind of, um, doesn't really care about anything he does. Maybe he's kind of slacking off. He's irresponsible, right? Those are the emotions that we feel when we hear that word. So when you're looking for word choice here throughout the scene, that's what you want to be focusing on. Okay, what are the words that give off, strong emotions that have strong connotations that help develop the plot or the characters here? Okay, questions about any of that so far? Is everybody finding this okay on Summit? Again, you're going to our class and then you want checkpoint 2 scene annotation. That should be right up here at the top in the box. And then it's going to look like this. Okay. So anybody having trouble finding it so far? All right. So now that we kind of understand what we're doing here in the directions, you can see there's a scene here that we're going to read to kind of annotate. All right. Now, the scene here is one we've all already seen. It was the scene where Corey kind of asks Troy, why don't you like me? And then he gives him that speech about, doing right by people. And, I have a responsibility to do all these things for you. And he's kind of saying, do you eat every day? Do you have clothes on your back? Do you have a place to sleep at night? And that sort of thing. So I wanted to, pick a scene that I know we've all already seen because not everybody has access to the movie outside of class. But if you've been in class, you've seen this scene already, so you should have an idea of that in your head, right? So what you're going to do here is just read through, the transcript of this scene, and this is taken right from the text of August Wilson's play, which you'll notice is kind of word for word what we hear in the movie, because Denzel Washington uses the exact same script that August Wilson wrote back in the 80s, right? And as you read through this, you can annotate it for word choice that affects the plot or characters, or that helps to present the theme. So, for example, if I was doing this, I would just start reading through, and Troy says, "What the hell you want to ask me, Mr. Stewicki? The one who got the questions for you." And then Corey says, "How come you may never like me?" Right? So maybe I would, I can already see, just by this question Corey's asking. Uh, and maybe as I'm doing this, let me go to my demo notebook here. Yeah. And how come you would never like me? So maybe I would highlight. Come on. There we go. I would highlight this phrase right here, right? And now we're annotating, right? So that means we want to take notes, so that we know kind of what each thing means here. So not only are we going to highlight, but then maybe I'll make a little note right next to it where I say, after I get rid of my highlight here. Right. Uh, this phrase implies that um, Troy, as a character, seems how? How do we, even though I know we already kind of know what happens in the scene, think about if we were just kind of reading this for the first time, what does the way Corey asks this question imply about, Troy, his dad, as a character? You know, how do we think he seems based on Corey asking the question that way? Does he seem like a nice guy? Does he seem like he's super caring, loving parent? Does he seem maybe not so much that way? What do you think? Based on the words Corey uses here when he asks this question, like this part I have highlighted, what does that imply about Troy, his dad, as a character? How does he seem? If we don't know anything else about him, how does he seem based just on the way Corey kind of asks that question? What do you think? Somebody who can tell me in the
He
chat?
seemed very uptight.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Mira. Seems uptight and distant, right? Or maybe unloving. Okay. And now would be good there, right? So now we have one part of this annotated, and then you're going to just continue through the rest of the scene and kind of do the same thing. All right. And I picked a scene that was, fairly short, so it's not a whole lot to kind of read through and annotate for you guys. And so you would continue going through looking for, okay, what's some good word choice that informs the plot or the characters? What's some stuff that informs, the theme? And again, if you're stumped on this one, like it says in the directions, you can go back here to checkpoint 1, which you should all have completed at by this point, right? And look at, okay, what are some of the theme statements I put in here? Now I want to find some stuff in this scene that helps to kind of support those theme statements, right? And those themes, right? A lot of that might be in this big part right here, just to give you guys a hint, okay? Questions on this checkpoint? Is this making sense to everybody? How we're going to do this, what we need to do? If it does, give me a thumbs up in the chat, please. Okay. And while you guys are doing that, again, give me a thumbs up if this all makes sense for the checkpoint. I'm going to pull up our movie and we're going to continue where we kind of left off, which was, Troy, we know, has had an affair with Alberta, and he's got her pregnant. She's having his child, but him and Rose are kind of still, still married, kind of still living in the same house, but nobody's really talking to each other. And now where we left off was we just learned that Alberta has had the baby, but something has happened to Alberta. Does anybody remember what that was?
Preeclampsia.
Say it again, Mira.
I think it was the preeclampsia, or she died while having a baby.
Yeah, so she dies in childbirth. So now, Troy has this baby with another woman, and now the other woman has died. So we're kind of left wondering, what's going to happen here. And Troy's kind of reacting to this. So that's what we're going to pick up. Again, if everything about, checkpoint 2, what I just went over, if everything about that makes sense, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can, and then we'll go from there. No worries, Nisha. That is a-okay. That's why we record. All right. Oh, sorry. All right. Like I said, we'll sum up everything we just saw when we come back on Monday. Don't forget to work on checkpoint 2 over the weekend. I'll send out a reminder, and then I'll be looking at people's checkpoint 1s as well. Okay. If you have questions about anything, shoot me an email or come see me in the Summit Lab. I'll be in there today from 1 to 3. All right. Questions about anything before we go? Well, then you are good to go. Thank you for staying with me, and I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good weekend and stay safe. Enjoy this nice weather. All right, see you guys.